We have here with us Mr. Bill Marsh, a great mediator from Europe, probably one of the best from Europe. Bill, thank you for this interview and for being in Romania and promoting mediation in Romania.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I have a first question for you. For the beginning, tell us, it's our first time being here in Romania?
No, this is probably my 10th time in Romania. Between 2004 and 2006, I was an advisor to the Ministry of Justice on mediation, reform and development. So I was heavily involved in discussing what the first draft of the law should say, and then in doing some liaison and training with judges, with lawyers and with others.
Very, very interesting. It's important for the Romanian public to know more about you. Please tell us about your expertise in alternative dispute resolution field.
Okay, I've been a mediator, a full-time professional mediator for 20 years. Before that, I was a lawyer in private practice as a commercial lawyer. And now, for the last 20 years, exclusively in mediation. I have a mediation business in the UK with other mediators, and I also have a consulting business, and we do a lot of work with various governments around the world, Romanian government and other governments in Russia, Turkey, Bulgaria, Slovakia, the UK and other places, in working on the introduction of mediation and ADR systems into those countries.
20 years in mediation is a great period of time.
It's been a huge privilege. I think mediation is a real privilege to be involved in, and it's a wonderful career for anybody who's interested.
We gathered here for an advanced mediation training with Romanian mediators. What we shall expect from this course?
Well, the title of the course is Advanced Mediator Skills. And skills, of course, are vital to any profession. And our profession, the mediator's profession, is no exception to that. So skills are crucial. So what we're going to do on the course is break down the mediation process into small pieces and look at some of the particular skills that mediators need to use within that process. We're also going to look at the bigger questions about the development of mediation in this country and the role that mediators can play and must play in the successful development of mediation.
Like a parallel, what can you tell us about mediation in UK?
Well, mediation in the commercial field in UK has been going for 20 years, the same length of time that I've been involved in it. Mediation in other fields, like family fields and labour relations, has been going for longer. But in my sector, civil and commercial, it's been going for 20 years. It's now very well recognised and established. A lot of very serious businesses use mediation regularly. And one of the big things is that all the serious law firms use mediation. I know when we began, there was maybe a suspicion amongst some of the lawyers that this wasn't really for them, and maybe some concerns about the impact mediation would have on them. Now, mediation is seen by the legal profession as a very important part of what they deliver to their clients, and that's been a big and very important development. And speaking as a former lawyer myself, I find it very important that lawyers engage effectively with mediation.
What's your point of view about professional level of Romanian mediators and what must be improved?
Well, we've had 2 days of this course already, and I have to say I've been incredibly impressed with the level of skills and quality amongst the mediators I've worked with. So I think the profession is in very good hands here, and I know a lot of the mediators on this course are also trainers. So anybody coming for training in mediator can expect good things. But for every mediator, however experienced they are. I think we all have to take time out each year and work on our skills. It's very much like a top musician practicing their instrument. If we're going to deliver the very best service, we have to take time out and refine our skills and practice them. And that's what this course is about.
Thank you very much. A compliment from Bill Marsh is more than an usual compliment.
Thank you.
In your career, which was the longest mediation experience, and what about the most difficult one?
Well, there are many that qualify for the most difficult. The longest single mediation lasted 38 hours.
Wow.
I said to the parties many times, I think you should go home. But there were so many parties, I think there were 13 parties and 9 law firms involved in that mediation. And they said, if we go now, we will never find an opportunity to come back for further negotiations. So we should really give it our best attempt now and see if we can settle it. So they stayed on and on and on. It was a very, very tough process. And after all day and all night and all the next day, we found an agreement. But I then said to them, before you sign this document, I want you to go home, sleep, come back in the morning and look at it and still make sure you are happy with it. Because in mediation, we want parties to make good decisions. We don't want them to make crazy decisions just because they're tired.
An excellent approach. I use this approach very often. I use this approach when the parties are not absolutely sure that this is the agreement, this is what they mean.
Yes, but to come back to the other part of your question, the longest period of time, not in one day, but the longest mediation spread over time was 9 months. And it was about the takeover of a football club, a well-known football club in England. I won't say which one. And there were fans rioting on the streets, there was the football club, and there was a takeover consortium, and it was crazy. It went on not every day for 9 months, but we met, then they would go away, do some work, we would come back 2 weeks later, have more meetings, they would go away and do some work, we'd come back 3 weeks later, have more meetings, and it went on like that for 9 months.
We met for the very first time in 2007 in Austria at the AMI, European Mediation Network Initiative Conference.
Indeed.
What changes took place around Europe from then until now?
The changes since 2007 have been significant. I think the biggest one is that the EU Mediation Directive was passed in Brussels and came into force earlier this year. That requires each member state of the EU to have some basic minimum provisions in place for mediation, for confidentiality, for information sessions so parties can understand mediation and so on. And that directive has been very important for the credibility of mediation throughout the whole of Europe. I think the other change has just been the gradual development inside each country. You know, every country has their own way of approaching mediation, and in each country there have been sometimes fast steps, sometimes slow steps made, but all of them are progressing towards a better mediation system.
For people who want to embrace a mediation career, what is your advice as an expert?
Well, the first thing to say is it's a wonderful career. I can't speak with too much praise for this career because it's very rewarding. The second thing to say is that you need a lot of patience because even in the UK where mediation is established, there are too many mediators and not enough cases. And that's the same in every country. There are always more mediators than cases. So you need patience to develop your own career, develop your own expertise. And I think many people find that quite frustrating, and I'm sympathetic to that because it is difficult. Having said that, if we look back and see how far we've travelled in the last 10 or 20 years, this country in mediation has travelled a huge distance in a very short space of time. And actually I would say that the system here in Romania is better organised than in many European countries. So I think it's a good opportunity for people to get involved.
And our last question of the interview. Bill, why you love mediation so much?
That's a tough question, but an important question. I think it's particularly rewarding. I think that, all societies are full of conflicts. And some of them look completely impossible to resolve. I think the more I mediate, the more I work out that some surprising things are possible, even in the most contentious and frozen conflicts where it looks like no progress is possible. That's one of the things. So it's professionally rewarding, it's intellectually rewarding, it's morally rewarding, it's well paid in the UK. So for all sorts of reasons, it's been just a huge privilege to be involved.
Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure and a very big privilege to talk with you about mediation.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.